Hello, this is Chris Ott, and this is a redo of part one of a series of mine titled What Mayor Baba Really Taught. And I'm going to have to say why I'm redoing the original part one of that series. I did these about 8 months ago, and they were the first series that I did when I set up this green screen behind me and I got this microphone. I'm sort of upgrading my equipment and moving into my own space. I used to do videos at a place called the Circle Center at the Myrtle Beach Mall near where I live. But I ended up moving everything over here and getting my own camera and so forth. And originally, what became that series, What Mayor Baba Really Taught, was simply me introducing what I thought was going to be a slightly different series. And originally it was not titled and hadn't gotten that far. And I spent 2 whole videos kind of just sort of musing aloud, and it was very personal and kind of autobiographical about how I got to where I am and what I wanted to do. And I originally anticipated this to be a really long ongoing series. I even talked about it being 100 videos possibly. But when I got to video number 23, by then I had titled it What Mayor Baba Really Taught. And by then I decided to cut it off, and that I had covered actually more than I thought I would. A lot of material that I really wanted to include somewhere. But I have to say that those first 2 original videos, and I'm leaving number 2 and I'll talk about why. But number 1 really kind of would really throw a person off, because the title, What Mayor Baba Really Taught, is pretty clickbaitable. I mean, it's kind of, it might interest somebody. And I feel like it sort of was like bait and switch, because it felt like it, because if you started at part 1, you'd be very confused. Like, what is this? It's not even about what Mayor Baba really taught, even though it kind of evolved into that. If I talk about how that happened and how that kind of thing happens when you do videos, again, I fall into the same kind of talking about myself that I did there. So I'm going to just not do that. This is just what happened. It got kind of boring. And even though it was only 20 minutes long, to a person waiting to hear what Mayor Baba really taught, it could feel like an hour or something like that. So I was going to go over what I said there just briefly, because I'm replacing that video with this one. And when I was looking at it this morning, and I actually have over quite a bit of time thinking about doing this replacement, I was kind of ambivalent. I was of 2 minds, as they say, because there was good material in there. So I've decided that while I'm going to do this explanation and this new part 1, I'm still going to link to it at the end of this video if you want to go see it. And I'm going to leave it viewable. That means it's not private, but it's also not listed. It'll be unlisted, it's called. So you won't find it in a search engine, but from this video or anybody who has the link, they can go to it, because I feel like it had, like I said, some really kind of neat stuff in there. I felt it. So it's sort of difficult. Like, I like it, but I see the problem that somebody could be very disappointed by it. And the same for part 2. But finally I had to make a choice. I looked at shortening part 2 also, or something, but I couldn't really find where to cut it and it still makes sense. So that one rambles a bit too, and it's about 27 minutes or something, but I'm going to leave it alone. This one, though, I'm replacing. So what I said in that first one is I kind of said what I'm doing. I explained why I didn't have a title yet. Actually, the original title came from a book I was going to write, and I talked about that, but I decided by the end of the series I don't need to write the book. It was going to be a very short book called What Mayor Baba Really Taught and Why It Matters, a letter to philosophers. but I just don't need to do that. It's all in the videos. Or maybe I will someday, but I'll probably come up with a different title. So I talked about myself. I talked about that I'm kind of an introvert, that I don't like getting, you know, people writing kind of cruel stuff on my videos. And I even talked about how I wasn't going to initially even make these public, but I was going to just keep them private for a while. But I just changed my mind. I ended up making them public pretty quickly. So that's it. That's all I need to cover for now. The one thing I did, I think I began to introduce the point that a lot of my thinking is guided by a prophecy by the teacher Mayor Baba, and I gave that prophecy. But I'm pretty sure and it was that by the year 2039, which is just like about 15 years from now. It's 2024. That philosophers would pay respect to his tomb. That was something Mayor Baba said. It wasn't just offhand. It was kind of like a very definite what he saw would happen. And I talked about why I thought that was. And I talk about that, though, also in part 2. So there's really nothing, there's no reason to keep the original part 1. And I also mentioned that he said, and very close to that, no, actually, at a different time to the press, he once said, I've come to bring about a revolution in man's thinking, the slowest of all revolutions. And so I think that these two are tied together, this prophecy of philosophers, and saying that he had come to bring about a revolution in thinking. So this is sort of about that, and these videos about what I think that revolution entails. And I think that's all I need to say. Like, I don't want to. Sometimes I end up repeating what I've said in another video, and I don't want to make this as long as the one I'm replacing, because that's the reason I'm doing this. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in part 2. And like I said, be warned, part 2 is a little slow and a little too autobiographical, but I felt that these were things that I needed to say because people don't know who I am. I also kind of said a little about how you can find out who Mayor Baba is, because people may not know. You never know who's going to watch a video. So, but like I said also, you go to the show notes below this video, scroll down if you'd like, and there'll be a link to the original part 1, in case you're interested. Like I said, I think there's some kind of neat stuff in there, at least I think it is. All right, thank you very much. Take it easy. See you in another video.